I won't be showing anything really. I'm just going to talk Sherry through it. So
Okay, so this is sort of an introduction to setting up your.
this is what I would normally do whenever someone orders a tablet from me. I tell them whenever it arrives to phone me, and I'll guide them through how to set it up.
Perfect. Thanks, Adrian.
Can I ask a quick question before you start? What kind of system? What kind of Mac? Just so I have a frame of reference.
This is for the Omnium 2.0 tablet.
Okay, gotcha.
So the new version of the tablet, you probably have the older original version.
Okay, this is the new one.
The new one's a little bit different with a few things, so it's a little trickier to set the clock and things like that.
Could you tell me the number? Omnium
2.0.
2.0, okay.
It's the current Omnium tablet. There's only ever been two. There was the original one that you have, and then more than a year ago, they introduced the new one.
Oh, okay.
So you got your tablet there, Sherry?
I do. It's charging. I drained it.
Oh, you drained? Okay.
Yep.
So once it's, can you turn it on so you got a screen to look at?
Yep. I'm right now. I have the.
Okay. So at the bottom of that, that's your home screen. So that's where you access the icon to get into the user face. Right. So at the very bottom in the middle, there's a tiny little circle.
Yep.
Okay.
Press it.
Swipe it up.
Okay.
So whenever you press that circle, it will always take you back to the home page. So that will get you to that page with the icons all the time.
Okay.
So now you've swiped up, you're in a screen where all the apps show up.
That's
and
correct.
In the bottom right, second one in, it says settings. It's a little cogwheel.
Got it.
So you click on that.
Mm-hmm.
And in the very top, it's going to say network and internet.
Yeah, and I'm hooked up.
You want to go into network and internet, and you want to turn airplane mode on. So you don't, when you're using it, you don't want it trying to communicate with a router in your house.
Okay, gotcha. Yeah,
Okay?
it was off. It was, yeah.
Anytime you need to connect to internet, unless you're using it as a tablet, which I don't really recommend, most people don't.
No.
Just using it to run your interface for the mat. The only time you would need to connect to Wi-Fi would be to download an update for the tablet, but there's no recent updates that you need. So when you're using it, you just want to leave it on airplane mode.
Sounds good. Yeah, that makes sense. Mm-hmm.
So now you're in there. There's two ways to go back a page. At the top left, you'll see a back arrow probably, but also below that circle in the very bottom, there's a little triangle to the left.
Okay.
And that takes you back one page.
Okay, gotcha.
Okay. So if you go back to there and now go down to display.
Yeah.
And in display, I'd like to go and turn the screen, because right now the way your screen goes dark after a minute or two.
Yes.
So if you're doing a 24-minute session and you want to see how many minutes you got left, you've got to wake it up. And
I do.
So I set mine to 30 minutes.
Oh, that's a good idea. Okay.
So then
after 30 minutes.
Yeah.
Okay. Oops, not 30 seconds.
No, not 30 seconds.
Minutes. There
Bottom.
we go.
And then it'll stay awake. So if you're demoing somebody or just doing it yourself and you want to see how many minutes you got left, it's not going to shut itself off. So
yeah, that's good. Thank
better
you.
that. And what else do I like to do in there? I think that's about it. You've got airplane mode, and you've got your clock set correctly, right? Date and time. Does it show?
Yeah, it has today's date and the time. I mean, on the actual tablet screen, it just has the time.
Yeah.
But when I'm off of the whatever app I'm in, then it shows the date and the time.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah.
So now we're going to go to the right of that little circle in the bottom. There's a little square.
Okay.
So now if you touch that, you'll get, because we've been poking around, there's things that are open in the background that are actually still running.
You bet.
So you want to X those out. Just get rid of them till there's nothing there anymore.
File manager and clock and that and this.
Yeah.
All right. They are all
Those in the background will drain your battery a little bit.
Right. Okay,
So with this tablet, you can actually, if you prefer, you can leave it plugged in all the time. That doesn't hurt the battery.
okay, good.
The original version was recommended that you charge it up, unplug it, drain it, and then plug it back in. But this
Okay.
one apparently the battery doesn't mind if it's left plugged in all the time. So if you're not moving it around, you can just leave it like that.
Sorry.
So if you're not moving it
Okay.
around, you can leave it plugged in.
Okay, perfect.
Okay, so that's pretty much all you need to know for settings. Now, if you go into your user face for the operating of the tablet, we'll just go through that a little bit too.
My user face. So you want me to go into
Enter,
IMRS?
enter into the screen where you would use your map,
Okay.
where you got the quick starts and the 2 circles.
I'm in IMRS and then it says enter.
Then hit enter.
Okay. I'm there.
Okay, so now your quick starts only work with the full body map.
Yes. I've,
So-
I've found that out through trial and error.
Okay, so if you're
Yeah.
using the spot pad or the back pad, you have to use your finger on the circles
Yeah,
where you set some time and you set the intensity.
right.
So let's just go through the quick starts. There's 5 of them. Relaxation is just, if you look in the top right-hand corner of your tablet at the top where the clock and the time is, you'll also see it'll probably say noon there.
Yeah,
Or-
it does.
Okay, so if you go to the left of options at the very bottom, you'll see a little sun dial, and if you just touch on that, it shows you the 4 times of day.
Right. Gotcha.
So the frequencies that you receive are actually selected by the organ clock. So it gives you different frequencies in morning, different ones at noon, and then slows you down in the evening and at nighttime. So
Okay, so I have a question here, if I may.
Yeah.
I work night shift.
yeah,
So should I select morning for when I wake up?
so you can override that. So that's where you
Okay.
would, to the left of the options, because when you select programs, they're pre-selected, some of them, or it'll be 10 o'clock at night and you don't want to be going to sleep. You want to be
No.
awake. So
Yeah.
you can override that down there. So if you just
Okay.
you can select morning or noon or whatever to
Yeah.
give you the frequencies.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
Only to do that, you're best not to use the quick starts, because as I'm going to explain right now, all the quick starts except relaxation have a pre-selected time of day, no matter what time of day it is. So if you use sleep, it's going to always say night.
Yeah,
Even
that
if-
makes sense.
If you're going to use activation, no matter what time of day, activation always says morning.
Okay.
Performance always says noon. And regeneration always says evening, no matter what time of day.
Oh, really?
The only one that gives you the correct time of day is relaxation.
Okay.
So, but if you're doing regeneration in the morning, it's still going to say evening in the top right-hand corner.
That's good
Okay.
to know. Yeah.
Yeah. So because regeneration and relaxation are pretty much identical, they're both 24 minutes. They start at 25 and they go down to 10, but regeneration will always be evening.
Okay.
Okay.
So that's the only difference between the two? Is regeneration has more
that's
of a relaxing?
Yeah, relaxation. So typically I would use relaxation, say in the morning,
Yeah.
or whatever time, of day you're doing your first session, because it'll give you the correct frequencies for that.
Okay.
And then sleep at night and regeneration in the afternoon or evening. And if I'm
Okay.
demoing somebody, I typically would put them on regeneration.
Mhm. And I think that's what I've done at Diana's.
Their
Right,
first,
Diana?
I'm a regeneration fan.
Yeah,
because
yeah.
That's why you
And I
put,
always feel great when I
Yeah.
leave.
yeah, I use it morning, noon and night. So
Yeah.
regeneration.
So the 3 circles beside the quick starts, where you see the images of the top one is the full body mat, the kidney shaped one is actually the back pad, and then the bottom one is the spot. you don't have to touch those. They're automatically selected. It knows when, as soon as you screw in one, which one it is.
Mhm. Yeah,
And are you have the OmniBrain as well. Do you use that?
I do. Oh, yeah. Yeah,
So,
there's a few times already. Sorry?
so the OmniBrain, if you're using it with the quick starts, also has, each of the quick starts has a pre-selected OmniBrain.
Yeah.
Selects the colors and the brightness level, and for me, they're way too bright. So
And I was
personally,
gonna, that was gonna be one of my questions is,
Yeah.
can I
When I-
pre-select?
yeah, when I use the OmniBrain, I don't use the quick starts. I use my finger on the circles and I'll set, say, 20 minutes on the mat and set my intensity and hit start. And then if you go into options at the bottom, click on options and you'll see OmniBrain pops up.
Yeah.
And then you can dial in your own. So personally, I just like green. I don't mix it, the colors. And I like my brightness around 20%. And most of the presets are like 80%, which is way too bright for me. So this is where you can set your combination of colors. The sliders, the top 3 sliders and the brightness will show up in the window below the brightness. Kind of gives you an idea of what color you're getting. And then if you're using the circles, you'll get what you've set in here. But if you use it with the quick starts, you're going to get whatever is preordained for that particular quick start.
Okay. Because I've tried to, so even though I've tried to set it up and then go back and start the mat.
Yeah.
And it didn't seem to want to accept what I was doing.
Say what you did because it went back to the pre-programmed one for the quick start.
So then so if I'm doing my own settings on the OmniBrain, can I still do them together then?
You can, but don't use the quick starts.
Oh, okay, sorry.
Use the 2 circles.
Yeah, okay, that's the mistake I made.
Like you're using the spot pad or the back pad, you can't use
Right.
the quick. So if you don't want preset OmniBrain settings, then use the circle and set your own time and set your own intensity. And then your quick start or your OmniBrain settings will be what you selected.
Right, okay, that makes sense. Yeah.
Okay. There's not a lot else in settings in the bottom corner. So this is different settings than the cogwheel that we went into before. If you just click on that settings, the 3rd one up says app settings.
Yeah.
This is where you can turn off that acoustic alert that dings at the end of your session.
Okay.
Sometimes I'll, put the back pad under my pillow at night as I'm going to sleep or something. So I don't want the alarm off. So this is just where you turn that on and off.
Okay.
And then also in that settings, there's one that says auto timer.
Yep.
And this is kind of like an alarm clock. So some people have it in their bed or under their bed. And this, you could have it automatically turn on at, say, 7 a.m. every morning, or, well, not for you. And so it'll
I need another mat.
So, well, yeah, so you do. I have multiple mats.
I bet you do.
Yeah.
I will too, eventually.
Yeah. So, yeah, so actually for using the interface, that's about as complicated as it gets. Also, when you're using it in the top right-hand corner up where it says morning and evening, you'll also see an N or an S, which means north and south when when it's turned on and functioning.
Yeah.
And that shows, and every couple of minutes it changes from N to S and back and forth because it's changing the polarity of the magnetic field so your body doesn't get acclimatized to it.
Right. Awesome.
But as far as using it, it's that simple. The quick starts are one touch though. Like I have people sometimes they'll hit relaxation and then they'll hit start. And then that changes it. That resets it to 10 minutes at 100. And you don't want to do that.
Yeah. Yeah, because I've noticed that using the OmniBrain is that it comes on immediately and starts countdown. Yeah.
Okay.
Users. So I managed to get my name in for one user, but to add another user,
I've never used it. I don't.
No?
It's overcomplicates things for people. It doesn't matter.
No, it really doesn't.
No.
Does it track anything?
No, most people are using that. They're using the same settings anyway. So.
Okay.
It's so simple just to pick a quick start or set something up. I don't mess with the users. I don't
Okay,
teach anybody how to do that.
okay, perfect. That's awesome. Thank you.
Yeah, and so in those, so we've got the circle in the very bottom, we got the square to the side that gets rid of things that are running in the background, the triangle, and then the ones on the opposite ends are volume down and volume up. So
Yeah.
then that would be for the alarm and the settings. To turn it on and wake it up, the little tiny button on the top right-hand corner of the edge of the tablet is what you use to wake it up. Some people think the big oval one on the center of the tablet is, but you don't really use that ever.
Well,
Then you,
I think that adjusts our volume though, doesn't it? Yeah, it does.
yeah, you got volume up and volume down, and then to the
Yeah.
left, there's a tiny little hole
Yeah,
on the top edge of the tablet. So that would be, sometimes, you know, you have to reboot your computer.
yeah.
This is like a hard restart. So
Oh,
you would find a pin or a safety pin and just put it in that hole and gently press down, and
okay.
it'll cut your tablet off. And so sometimes if your tablet freezes or gets stuck on anything, just like with a computer, you might have to do a hard restart there.
Okay.
And then it'll usually just correct whatever issue's going on.
Awesome. Thank you.
And other than that, that's pretty much it.
Awesome. That's great. Thank you very much.
You're very welcome. So what's your daily protocol? What have you been doing?
Well, I'm on days off, so I have been getting up and doing regeneration.
Yeah.
I've been doing one after the other, so 2 24 sessions.
Okay, so the only thing with that, now you know, is that you're getting the evening in the morning when you're
Yes.
waking, you're giving yourself the evening frequencies.
Yes.
So you'd probably be better to use relaxation.
Okay, and I will. That's fine.
Although what time do you, now you're getting up like at normal times, morning? Or
yeah, I get up. Well, it depends. I haven't been sleeping well.
Yeah.
And the first day that I had this, I did one session of relaxation and the Omni brain, and I slept quite well.
Good.
But I think I might have overdone it a little bit. Although I know, because I woke up super achy, like my whole body.
Oh,
was-
okay.
Yeah, and I know it's regeneration. I'm okay with it.
Yeah.
It's like,
And
okay,
you-
it's working.
You drink lots of water?
Yeah, I'm drinking lots of water before, lots of water after. Diana was good at making sure I knew that. And I read through the information, all the brochures and everything. And of course, I've been online and I've watched your video and all of that. So I did see that it said you can't harm yourself. So that's all I needed to know.
Yeah.
Go
some
for it.
Yeah, you can overdo it a bit and feel like too jittery, too much energy, and you've got it now, so there's no rush to try and, you know, turn up intensities or try and force
Yeah.
fast results. For most,
Although I put the pad on I was feeling kind of sinusy, so I
Yep.
definitely have some things I need to work with here. And I live in Fort McMurray, it's pretty polluted.
Yeah.
And so I found in the last probably 6 months that I've got allergies. I've never had allergies. I've actually had to buy medication. So I haven't taken it for a while, but I felt it this morning. So I put the pad over my head and at
Yeah.
400, and it two times helps. It helped me already.
Okay.
So I'm
Yeah.
very excited about it.
Yeah, good.
Yeah.
So I think one of the other things that Diana wanted to cover was the way I test people.
Okay.
So for the first time on their mat, on your mat. So if, let's say someone came over and they were going to try your mat.
Yeah.
So the PEMF is quite subtle.
Mhm.
You know, some people do actually feel sensations, but a lot of people don't feel much when they're experiencing it.
Okay.
So I like to check in, first of all, with their body and see how their body is alignment wise,
Mhm.
because that used to be kind of my specialty. I did massage and I did brain balancing alignments.
Okay.
So typically, if someone lays flat on the floor on your mat, and if you go to their ankles, you'll see that one leg appears to be longer than the other.
Okay.
So I usually just check the actual ankle or like the bottom of the heel to see how it lines up. But
Mhm,
some people like to put their thumb underneath the actual ankle bone and
mhm.
then just gently, make sure they're kind of as level as possible. And you'll see that one leg, 99.9% of the time for
Shorter.
people, one leg is going to look like it's shorter.
Mhm.
I also, and they can't always see that. Sometimes I'll get them to sit up if it's going to be noticeable when they sit up. I just want them to be aware and check in with their body and what that is. And the
Okay.
reason it happens is that one side of the body gets tight. So as the muscles tighten, they shorten and it pulls the hip up and it rotates the hip and it makes the leg seem short. Although
Mhm.
structurally, if you measured the bones in the legs, they're 99.9% of the time they're the same length. It's just the crookedness of the hips. And then I like to check in with their arm strength so they can get a feeling of how that works in their body. And to do that, laying flat on their back, you just put your arm 90 degrees, so perfectly straight up in the air, and rotate the palm so that it's facing outwards. So
Okay.
a lot of people, if they put their hand straight up in the air, the palm will face inwards, and then you just kind of want to rotate it around so that it engages the shoulder in a different way when your palm is faced outwards.
Yeah.
And I'll gently pull on the arm towards the foot. So with the arm straight up in the air, I'm going to pull towards their feet and they're just going to resist. And it's not a test of strength. We're just seeing which shoulder locks in better. And
Right.
typically one arm will be quite locked in and the other arm will be weaker.
Yeah.
So, and I want them to tune into that so that they can feel the difference and then do the session on the mat. And after, I usually put them on for 24 minutes with a regeneration, but after about 10 minutes, I like to check in the leg length and the arm strength again. And their legs will now be level or very close to level. And the arm strength, whichever arm was weaker, is now going to be almost as strong as the other one.
Nice.
So even if they didn't feel anything from the mat, they know that after 10 minutes and not touching them, that the mat has shifted their whole body in a way that normally happens only if you go to the chiropractor or something.
Absolutely. Physical
So,
evidence.
and to me, if that's all it did, forget the frequencies and everything else. To me, because that was my specialty, was realigning people, and I have a deep understanding of how important that is for the function of your body. If that's all it did, that would be worth the money alone.
I agree.
So that's why if you lay on your mat every day, and especially laying flat on your back, so the mat will penetrate your body, whether you're laying on your side or your stomach, but for your body to settle into alignment, laying on your back is the best, because as you lay there and relax, that tight side of the body lets go.
Yeah.
The hip just naturally comes back into place without any adjusting or anything. It just settles. And the reason it's doing that is because it's making all your cells communicate. So the reason your body gets out of alignment in the first place, as much as we're physically out of alignment as people, left-handed, right-handed, carrying things on one side, primitive people balance things on their head or across their shoulders. They understand balance more than we do, and we're very out of balance. But more than the physical stuff, it's just this. It's the way we think. And you have two brain hemispheres. Each side of your brain works the opposite side of your body. And whichever side you're using to interact with the world the most becomes your dominant side. So if you're more left-brained, the right side of your body typically will be the stronger but more tense side. And if you're right-brained, the more creative, intuitive people, then typically the left side of your body will be the stronger and tighter side.
That's interesting, because my right side gives me trouble.
Your right side gives you trouble? Yeah.
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 I mean, not as much anymore, but.
Yeah, but and typically that's what happens with people. But when you lay on the mat creates communication from all your cells. So now your brain, both sides of your brain can now talk to your body better. So you gain the strength in the side that wasn't communicating, and you get the relaxation on the side that was too tense. So most people outside of our group in the whole company have no awareness of this whatsoever,
No.
right? So I just noticed it because that was what I just started to notice when I laid my clients on there now before the massage. They would come into alignment without me having to do the alignment that I typically did on people,
Wow.
right?
That's
So
powerful.
so when you lay on it twice a day, you will always be in alignment. Your hips are always going to be level. Well, not always, because a stressful moment, you could be in alignment and have a stressful phone call and your body will instantly be crooked again,
Wow.
right? That's how fast it works.
Yeah.
Not because you fell over, were in a car accident, or you pulled your back. Just the thinking brain getting too stressed out triggers that forcing into the one brain hemisphere, and then that other side of the body tightens up, and it
Wow.
happens that fast, right?
Mhm.
So this can keep you in that balanced state all the time, so that you're more grounded, and especially as people age, balance is an issue. When you're walking around and one leg is half an inch shorter than the other, you don't
Yeah.
have good, right? When your legs are the same length and your hips are in the right place, and plus it's your joints. Like people that have to have hip replacements and knee replacements, it's because they wore out the joint.
Mhm.
And they wore out the joint because their whole life they've been walking around crooked.
Mhm.
And if you're in alignment all the time and your joints are sitting in the right place, you're not going to be wearing out your joints and having to replace them, right? So that's a huge piece of how this is helping people as well. And one of the reasons, like there's many ways that it helps with pain, but for people with back and neck pain, 90% of the time it's because they're out of alignment.
Mhm.
So when you can structurally fix that in the body without having to go and get your neck cracked, which for a lot of people is scary, right?
I like it.
And plus you have to go there, but yeah, some people love it, some people hate it. But this will do that for you
Yeah.
without having to do that or drive to the chiropractor or get an appointment or
Mhm. Awesome.
yeah.
That's very good. I did get my chair. I know we had a little bit of dialogue on email about my chair.
Right, yeah.
So can
Does
you
it work for
look
you?
at it? Pardon
Yeah.
me?
It's working for you?
Well, I want to make sure I'm a little bit, how do I flip this around? Hold on here. I want to make sure that it's okay. Can I flip the camera around on this thing?
Well, I don't know. What are you on?
Okay,
laptop?
whatever. How would I just do this? So there it is. Can you see it?
Yeah. Oh, sort of. I could, but now it's gone.
Hold on.
Now I'm looking. Okay.
So that's it. And
So it's
It
always
has-
in the same shape then, right?
sorry?
It's always the same shape. It doesn't sit up or do anything
No,
else.
it doesn't sit up. It's always going to stay like that. Is that
Yeah.
can you see it?
Yeah. And
Okay.
as long as it's firm enough, as long as it's comfortable for you.
Okay, so
Again,
my concern,
my personal preference would be to put something on top of the mat as well.
like a blanket or something?
No, like an air mattress or a thick yoga mat or
Well,
but
okay.
or a blanket. Like for me, it's comfort, right?
Oh yeah, no. I love the sturdiness of it.
Yeah. If you like the feel of it on your body, but otherwise, yeah, I would probably cover it with a blanket just to keep it clean.
Yeah, I definitely, I have a couple of blankets, soft blankets, but I actually removed them because I like the feeling of the mat.
Yeah. Oh, if you like the feeling
Yeah.
of the mat, that's perfect. So,
But
yeah.
I'll get that for my daughter and for others.
Yeah.
My main
Yeah.
concern was that the curvature wasn't going to be a problem for the mat.
It's not a problem for the mat. I'm not sure that it lets your body settle in the same way as it does when you're laying completely flat. It's pretty good.
Okay.
I mean, it probably will. I think because you're going to be you're only going to lay on your back on that. So
Yeah. Oh yeah.
so it's going to
And-
put you back into alignment anyway. So yeah, the main thing for you is that it's comfortable for you to lay on, and if
It
you
is.
love it, then it's
Yeah.
perfect.
Okay. Excellent. Thank you. Yeah,
Yeah.
I just didn't want to damage the coils because
No,
I was
and
a
if
little
you do,
concerned.
you are going to damage the coils, just damage them in the first 3 years.
Okay. Sounds good. Now, that leads to one other question. So if I do have any damage or anything, how am I going to know? Is it going to say something on the
It's-
tablet?
You know how when you tried to use the quick starts with your spot pad and
Yeah,
it didn't work, you got
Yeah.
an error. So if there's ever an issue with the copper coils, you'll get a message that says copper coil error because it's not connecting, right?
okay. And
It,
then I'll
it,
cry.
well, and then you'll just have to use your back pad until they send you a replacement.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah. So,
Okay,
and
awesome.
they're really good with that. I mean, we do have to use the support ticket system now to use that so that we're not just flooding Sabine with emails. Not that, there's that many people having issues anymore. The
Okay.
first version of the tablet had more issues just with the tablet itself.
Yeah,
This 2.0 version, I'm not seeing a lot of issues, and
no.
yeah, people are looking after their mats. You're not usually getting a copper coil error, but yeah, if it's getting, if it's not working for any reason, you'll either get a copper coil error in that connection problem, or sometimes you'll get an error message that says DA converter
Okay.
error. And that would be perhaps the flat cord isn't plugged in properly in the DA converter, or if there's something wrong with the DA converter itself.
Okay.
But yeah, if it's ever not actually functioning, you'll get an error message and it won't run.
Okay. Excellent. Can you tell me the benefit of the new converter? They have a multi converter they just came out with.
Well, for
I'm
people,
trying to think why.
well, for a lot of people, the screwing and the unscrewing of the applicator each time is too finicky. Like
Okay.
if they have arthritis in their hands or they can't, they're hard things to do sometimes, right?
Okay.
So for people like that, the adapter will allow you to leave all three of them plugged in at the same time. And then instead of it automatically recognizing which one you want, you would just press, I want the full body mat, I want the spot pad, and
Okay.
it'll connect
Gotcha.
it just stops people from having to disconnect and reconnect a different applicator every time they want to switch between applicators.
Okay. Perfect. One other question. Sorry.
No,
I have a device called a BFR. It's a Katsu, and it is a blood flow restriction device. And it has a little modulator that actually tightens it up and then releases, and it goes in a cyclical manner.
right?
And it's for exercise. And I was wondering if I could use it at
So-
the same time.
You put it on, what do you do with it? How does it?
So you put it like right above the bicep.
It would be like a blood pressure wrap that tightens
Yeah,
up.
that's right. So I have cuffs for my arms, and then I have cuffs for my legs. So I put it on, and then I set up the cycle, and it literally constricts and releases, and it's a BFR, blood flow restriction device. So I wanted to know if I could use it at the same time that I'm doing my
So
mat.
why do you try and restrict your blood flow?
Because it helps with circulation. It basically does a lot of what the mat does already.
Right.
But I'm all about hacks and like
Yeah.
doing as much as possible in the shortest amount of time. So
Okay.
it was
the-
developed because a Japanese guy, Katsu, he had a broken leg, and he found by putting a turnkey around his leg that he didn't have muscle wasting. And so then he developed this system where, it didn't cut off the arterial flow, but the venal flow. And then he didn't have any muscle wasting from his break.
Right.
So it does produce a lot of the same effects as the
So
mat.
the mat though is increasing your circulation, and then
Yeah.
you're tourniqueting it off a little bit to stop it, but then it releases and
Well,
it kind of,
and it builds muscle.
yeah, I don't see any problem using it.
Okay.
But typically what I tell people for using it and things is two things super important. Number one is drink lots of water.
Yeah.
And number two is pay attention to how you feel.
Okay.
Right. So it's, whether it's raising intensities or whatever you're experimenting with. And I encourage people to experiment after they've used it for a little while, not on their first day. Like, but
I did.
but again, you're not really going to hurt yourself if you're
Yeah.
hydrated and you're paying attention to how you feel. If
Yeah.
you're dehydrated and you're not paying attention to how you feel, you can get, it's rarer than with most things that I've had experience with, but you can get a healing crisis where
Mhm.
your body's detoxing too fast and you're going to get upset stomach, or you're going to get headaches, or you're going to feel more pain, or those things can happen because you're going too fast.
Yeah. And I
What?
think I definitely did that. And I woke up feeling all over
Yeah.
body achy, and
Yeah.
it dissipated quite quickly, but I know that
Yeah.
I was like
You probably just overdid it in
yeah,
excitement.
I was excited.
Yeah.
I'm like a teenager with a new Ferrari.
Yeah. So as you're introducing new people, you've had that experience yourself, just, pass that information on, that you got it now forever. There's no rush. And
Yeah.
people do tend to get, oh, I want to do
I
more.
know. I want results right now.
I use mine for hours a day, like hours and
Oh,
hours.
do you?
If I'm watching a movie, I'm sitting on my mat and it's running. And I have a back pad from the old original IMRS 2000 in the back of my lazy boy chair. So if I'm sitting in there, I turn the back pad on hour after hour.
Nice.
But my body can handle it, and it loves it. So
Yeah.
the more I use it, the better I feel.
Nice. Okay. Well, that's good to know.
My way of thinking around it was, because when I first got involved, a lot of people are going, oh, you only have to do it for 8 minutes twice a day. I guess that's for people that have no time, or they're in a
All
rush,
right.
right?
Yeah. Why wouldn't you do more?
24 minutes is way better. So after 8 minutes, and the 8 minutes comes from the NASA study, your last cells are just getting there. They're just coming. So that's the 8 minutes is how long it takes every cell in your body to come into resonance with the 0 to 30 hertz frequencies.
Wow.
So that you're actually vibrating at 0 to 30 hertz instead of 2.4 billion hertz like wireless is, right? So the earth-based frequencies are 0 to 30 hertz. But to me, if I lay on it and then I'm in that frequency, and then the effect is going to last me, say, 6 to 8 hours, I know after 3 hours, it's already wearing off. And I also know that we were designed to be in those frequencies 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. So my personal way of thinking is, I want to, and I'll even just turn it on in the room when I'm not laying on it, because I want my
Just
whole
to have it
environment.
around.
I want to be bathed in those frequencies all the time.
That's a good idea.
So
So when you sleep with
I put my food on it. When you get home from the store, put your bags of groceries on the mat and do an activation, or do 10 minutes at 25, and get all your food in the right frequency.
Oh, that's amazing.
There's some great tests you can do with food. If you slice up a lemon and cut some wedges of lemon and put a couple on a saucer and put them on the mat, and put the other lemon further away from the mat, do that for 10 minutes, and then taste that lemon, and then go taste the original lemon. It'll blow your mind.
Wow. I will do that today. We have to get groceries. That's awesome.
And do you drink alcohol?
No.
No. Okay. But for people that do drink alcohol, wine or hard liquor, same thing. You put it on the mat, it totally changes the taste, makes it so that for wine, it neutralizes the sulfites. People that are allergic to wine can actually drink wine usually if it's matted.
Wow. So it's good for hangover.
But a cheap red wine will taste like an expensive wine after 10 minutes on the mat.
Wow.
For foods, things that are either sweet, like ice cream, stuff like that, or things that are sour, like lemon, you'll notice the most taste difference. Other things are subtle.
Yeah.
Even water, if you put your water on there, your water it's gonna restructure your water so it has a lower surface tension. The water will actually absorb into your cells better. And
Wow.
yeah, so
Jeez.
and plants love it and pets love it, and so
That's amazing. When you put the mat under your pillow, or not the mat, but the pad under your pillow, what frequency do you use for?
Well, I'm sleeping, so I usually put it on sensitive. I'll just turn it on. I'll turn it on sensitive for an hour.
Okay.
With the nighttime package, right?
Yeah.
And turn the alarm off, and then I'll go to sleep, and I fall asleep really fast anyway, but now I'm getting an extra hour
Oh,
while I'm falling asleep.
nice.
Or sometimes I'll throw the spot pad over my hip or over my legs or, somewhere, I don't always, I used to use the back pad more under my pillow. Now I tend to use the spot pad more. It's just easier to
Mhm.
move around different places.
Will the backpack hold the mat, or will the backpack only hold the pad and the, do you know?
The,
The back from the company?
you mean the travel bag?
No, I have the travel bag. I know it holds the mat, but I'm talking about backpack. Because I want to take it with me when I go travel.
They don't make a backpack anymore.
Oh, they don't? Okay.
No. I think they
Okay.
discontinued the backpack, but yeah, find another backpack.
Get
that
my
holds-
own.
Yeah,
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, perfect.
just take it with you to the store. Like that's what I did. And it took me a while before I could find an actual backpack that would hold the full body mat.
Yeah, and that's what I need to do. 'Cause
Took it to Mountain Equipment Co-op with me, and I just tried it in different backpacks till I found one that
until you
worked.
found one. That's a good plan.
Yeah.
Excellent. Thanks, Adrian.
You're welcome.
Oh,
Awesome.
thank you so much, Adrian. I'm just blown away. I've forgotten how knowledgeable you are, and how privileged we were when every week we had you in Salmon Arms. So I really appreciate this. And Sherry, you asked the perfect questions. This is going to be an awesome training video for people in the future. And
Yeah.
thank you so much.
Thank you.
I'm going
It's a
to
pleasure.
end the recording now, but we can stay in the room and talk for 5 or 10 minutes if we like. So thanks again, Adrian, and thanks for
You're welcome.
everybody.
Thanks for recording. That's a good way to do it.
Fabulous, fabulous. Okay.
Can I be a little bit of a time hog? I'm sorry.